Urbanites Update is next. Coming up, the mass killing that's rocking the community in Texas.
Sticker shock at the gas station. People tell us if the tax is worth it.
The low-tech commute method that's gaining in popularity here in the Bay Area.
And you'll meet a student who eats the same thing for breakfast every day. All that and more coming up on Urban Nights Update next.
Hi, and thanks for joining us here at Urban Nights Update. Taylor Lehman is joining me, and I'm Marciano Reichel. Here's what we're working on. Officials are still trying to piece together the events leading up to a mass shooting. It happened in a small Texas town on Sunday morning. At least 26 people were killed and many more severely injured in a shooting that took place in the small town of Sutherland Springs. The death toll includes people ranging from a newborn child to a 72-year-old adult. After shooting dozens of innocent people, the gunman fled from the scene in his vehicle before taking his own life. Eyewitnesses say that the gunman approached the church dressed in all black and wearing tactical gear, armed with a heavily modified AR-15. Early reports indicate that he was dishonorably discharged from the military after a domestic violence incident involving his wife and child. Apparently, his ex-wife and in-laws are worshipers at the church, but did not attend that day.
President Donald Trump is calling the Texas shooting an issue of mental health at the highest level. During a news conference in Tokyo, the president claims that his incident was a mental health issue rather than a gun issue. After the Las Vegas mass shooting, then Texas shooting, various White House officials failed to comment on how Trump plans to address gun violence and mental health in the U.S. And he's being criticized for minimal efforts to address gun control.
While President Trump is touring Asia, there is still hard work being done in our nation's capital. There are still some issues that need attention, like state and local tax deductions and limits on deductions for mortgage loans. Some things that have already changed, like how it calculates inflation and a bill for adjustments in the tax code.
The 12-cent gas tax that began November 1st has made quite the impact on drivers in California. Isaac Bauer talked to drivers in San Francisco with the question of the week.
I think it's a little much to be implementing into roads and into different transportations. If I have my own car, why do I have to pay the price of other people? Take it out of my tax money. That's already being taken out of my check. It's a really simple solution that I think California needs to look into more, into where we can take money out of instead of gas prices.
Well, the 12-cent tax per gallon doesn't really affect me because living in the city, I try to use public transportation as much as possible. But yeah, when I'm back home in SoCal, that'll be kind of a hassle.
Well, that's what they've been saying. They, that accordingly to them, they're going to make trillions of dollars with the 12 cents tax increase. But if you really see, there's no improvement at all on the roads or anything like that so far. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm not happy with that.
Even though they are different forms of transportation and they all tie in together, it shouldn't have to come out of my gas money that I use on a weekly basis because I have a gas guzzler as a car, so it shouldn't have to come out of that, and it shouldn't have to affect me at a 12-cent increase.
Tax on gas is probably beneficial for me because I use public transportation, and if that's what it's going towards, I think it can really help out a lot of people in the city.
We already pay high price for gas in California, especially in San Francisco, and the cost of living and everything. I'm not happy with that. And we'll see how it goes, but like I say, not too many people is happy with the 12 cents increase.
If you're looking to figure out the cheapest and most effective way of commuting around San Francisco, then Kendra Brown has a story for you.
There are 847,000 people currently living in San Francisco. 45,000 of those people drive for transportation services, Uber and Lyft. Lyft lines and Uber pools are becoming very popular because of the cheap $4 to $5 rides that they offer. In the Bay Area alone, 433,400 people on average use BART to commute to and from work every day. BART is the cheapest way of commuting further distances around the Bay Area. The Muni Bus system is also another form of commuting for cheaper prices. Single rides for adults cost as low as $2.75. As a resident here in San Francisco, I prefer to walk everywhere that I go. It is a way for me to save money, and also I don't have my car while I am here. I will call an Uber or a Lyft if the distance that I need to go is over 1.5 miles away, or that it may be nighttime and it is unsafe to walk. Everyone has their own preferred way of getting around here in San Francisco, so who's to say which is the best way to get around?
I wish I haven't bought a car here instead of trying to ride on Ubers or just transportation from the train and everything. Trains take a whole lot of time. You'd be better off calling an Uber or just bring your own car. Well, I don't have a car, so I take Ubers or walk around San Francisco to do it. Probably like twice out of the week though, like twice out of the week just to get where I'm going if I don't feel like walking. Out of a month, probably like 6-7 times.
For people like Jaquez who wish they had a car to commute around San Francisco, they would have to worry about paying monthly parking fees to store their car. That does not include the fees that you would pay daily just to park your car. For this particular parking structure located on Sutter Street in San Francisco, it will cost you $350 a month to have your parking space for your vehicle. In San Francisco, Kendall Brown with your Urban Nights update.
Barry Bridges tolls may increase $3 next year. The extra money from the tolls will go to funding of BART extensions to San Jose and Santa Clara.
Instead of taking Uber and Lyft for commutes, nowadays bike rentals are becoming more popular. It's more eco-friendly and easy to use as short-distance transportation. Winnie Dong has the story.
Traffic jam is always a problem for big cities all over the world. Now some entrepreneurs in China are trying to turn that into a new business, bike sharing. With low cost and the most eco-friendly way to transport, ShareBike encourages you to cycle instead of wasting your time jammed in the car.
It is really convenient. You can drop the bag anywhere you want, and also you can find the bag in anywhere. It's very convenient. Open the application and scan the code of the bag and open it. You can use it.
Unlike other countries, ShareBike in China is way easier to use.
Nowadays in San Francisco, we also have ShareBike like this. It's called Ford Go Bike. After you go to a nearest bike station by you and get the code from the app, you can just put the code onto the keyboard and it will unlock a bike for you.
I've never used these share bikes here in San Francisco. I liked it in San Diego. You have to drop it off at a specific another share bike location. So if you know where you're leaving from and where you're going to, and that they have the bikes at both locations, then that's easy to use. If it's convenient and safe to ride on the street and easy to drop off, then I would probably use it.
From the Ford Go Bike official website, you can choose how would you like your plan. It can be single ride, day pass, or even annual membership. Also, you can check out the station map. With over 100 bike stations in downtown area, you can find the nearest one and explore the Bay Area with the bike. If ShareBike in China will proceed their business and come to San Francisco, it's easy to drop off, a better choice than drop at the station. In San Francisco, I'm Wayne Dong from your Urban Nights Update.
Lines are simply just too long for some impatient people. 300 iPhones have been stolen from a UPS truck parked outside the Stonestown Mall, Apple Store last week. Authorities are still searching for the suspect. Eyewitnesses say 3 men in white hoodies ambushed the UPS truck, then made their getaway with hundreds of new iPhones. Luckily, customers still waiting on their pre-orders from the Stonestown location were still able to pick up their phones on schedule.
Think twice about your child's late night TV habits. A new study conducted by University of Colorado at Boulder has concluded that screen viewing before bedtime for children aged 5 to 17 is directly tied to less sleep and poor sleep quality. Research from the National Sleep Foundation found that fewer children have healthy sleep patterns these days, which leads to many health risks. To curb this phenomenon, researchers suggest teaching kids how crucial sleep is to your health. Marine recruits at Camp Pendleton and the San Diego Recruiting Depot are being treated for exposure to E. coli. About 300 trainees overall have been affected by this outbreak. 69 are currently being treated, and 9 have developed serious complications. While the source of the outbreak is under investigation, Training has not stopped. The Marine Corps will allow recruits to make up missed training. Generally, E. coli is transmitted through contaminated food.
Eating healthy can be harder than it seems, but for this college student, it's reached an extreme level. Luke Lacey has the story.
Sure, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is a harmless snack, but if you're college student Caden Spilsbury, it's every single meal.
I know my diet isn't ideal, but I got to do what I got to do, and eating out is expensive in San Francisco, and the neighborhood market's also expensive. So, I just got to stick to what I do best, and that's making PB&J.
Jessica Balzano trains people of all ages on how to work out efficiently and how to maximize what they get out of their diet.
Eating a healthy diet for anybody, whether it's an athlete or just a regular individual, is super important. What we put in our body makes a huge difference in how we carry ourselves, the energy that we get. You have to think of your body as a car. The best quality gas that you put in, the better it's going to run and the longer it's going to run.
In San Francisco, most people don't have access to affordable grocery stores. Most that you're going to find are going to be more high-end markets like this one right behind me.
With a tight budget, I can't cook. With a few exceptions, it's just PB&J, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
For people like Caden, eating healthy isn't as easy as it should be. But with a little bit more knowledge on nutrition and more access to more affordable grocery stores, it could be. In San Francisco, for Urban Nights Update, I'm Luke Lacey.
At 500 milligrams of sodium per sandwich, that's a dangerous habit. Everyone needs balance in their diet.
Aside from some college students not having a balanced diet, some are also having trouble balancing their schedule. Brianna Keys is with a student who says it's all possible.
Thank you. I'm here with Erica Jackson, and she's going to talk to us about being a college student and working and how she can really balance it all. So Erica, my first question for you is, what's your major in college now, and where do you work? And do you have more than one job, or?
It's a lot of questions. So firstly, before I say all of that, I go to Berkeley City College, and right now my major is political science with the hopes of becoming a politician, hopefully locally based. And I have two jobs. So firstly, I work at a high school in Oakland called Oakland Tech, and I run a senior mentors program there. And that essentially is when the older students help the younger students balance their academics and social life. And then I also work at a nonprofit called Hope Collaborative that pushes for food equity in East and West Oakland.
Okay, so working at the high school and you're teaching these kids about how to work in school life, and you're living it. So you're the perfect person to teach them these things. So what I really want to know is that since you have like all these demands as a student, like I know as a college student you have different projects, midterms come around, you have to work with others. Like how do you get the job done? Like what is the key to making sure everything's done on time?
Well, that's actually a really, really good question. Well, honestly, a lot of prayer, because there are a lot of times where, you get like flustered and frustrated with a lot of things. But one thing my parents always taught me was no matter what you're doing, you always make sure you have time to do something for yourself, so that way you're not overwhelmed. So my self-care method is going to the nail shop every 2 weeks. I live by it. And that just allows me to have like a moment of rest before I get back to doing a lot of work. And with that time set aside for myself, I have a lot of other time to balance the workout.
Okay, so it's like kind of the opposite, like not like don't be so hectic, like losing your mind over what you have to get done, but rather schedule time to where you can kind of relax.
Yes.
So that way you're like, okay, if I do all this, then I get my relaxed time. Like I get to calm down. I'm here for that. I'm actually gonna start doing that.
You should.
So another question I have, since you've been doing this while you've been in college, why did you find it so prevalent for you to get a job while being in school? Because there are a lot of kids that are just like, or a lot of kids who have the privilege of, oh, I'll just go to school and that's it.
Right. So I'm not one of those kids that have that privilege. I come from a single father household, and I have an older brother that's in college. And so my dad has to do so much to make sure that we're taken care of. I thought it was important for me to become independent and try to sustain things for myself. So with me having these jobs, I'm able to pay my own bills, even though I don't like to. But it takes a lot of weight off my dad's shoulders, so that way he can have time to be an adult and relax.
I like that. All right, working and helping others for sure. Thank you so much, Erica. I enjoyed my time with you. Back to you guys.
All over the country, college student athletes have a lot on their plates, managing their athletic training and academic work. The athletes at the Academy of Art University have even more to overcome in San Francisco. Jackson Murphy has the story.
The Academy of Art University has 12 athletic teams and has over 220 athletes. One of the main difficulties with having a collegiate athletic program in the city of San Francisco is the lack of space to train.
Being in San Francisco, especially with the downtown urban campus, it presents a lot of challenges, especially with space. And to be a fully operable athletics department, our weight room is great, but it's a little too small for 25 guys that we have on the baseball team. And it would be nice if we could have something that was bigger, where we could get the whole team at one time. More productive and more efficient.
The Academy of Art University is the only art school in the NCAA Division II, and it's only had an athletic program for the last 10 years. Not only do student athletes need to overcome the adversity of not having their own facilities, but coaches need to become more creative in order to train their athletes.
Jessica Balzano is the head strength and conditioning coach for all AAU athletes, and she has had to overcome many difficulties in order to give her athletes the proper training in the small weight room.
Since I've been here, we've had our weight room location for all the teams in 3 different places, so this is our 3rd location. I think we have a really nice space in reference to strength aspect, but the conditioning is what becomes a problem because the space is not very big. The space itself is not ideal in reference to being a strength and conditioning coach. So when it comes to conditioning, I have to be really creative in what I'm able to do with the teams safely. I don't like more than 20 athletes here at one time, but working with 12 different teams and having over 220 athletes, you have to also be very creative in your scheduling.
The Academy of Art University is currently looking into better options to improve the training experience of its student athletes. In San Francisco, I'm Jackson Murphy with your Urban Nights Update.
A great way to maintain your weight and stay in shape is through sports. Here's Taj Dawson with more on this week's sports.
Hi, this week we will be covering men's and women's soccer, cross country, and women's tennis. Before Saturday's match against the Point Loma Sea Lions, friends and family gathered to celebrate Senior Day of ArtU Women's Soccer 6 seniors. As the game kicked off, the Knights started off strong with possession. As ArtU Knights got their first shot on goal, for a while ArtU's defense kept the Sea Lions at bay with the minimum of the 40th minute when Point Loma's Jay Kamanu was able to sneak a shot past senior goalkeeper Maggie Wilson, making the score 1-0. The Knights managed to get a few more scoring opportunities during the second half by way of freshman striker Sydney Cook, but could not manage to get one in the net. The final score ended up being 1-0 Sea Lions. Now turn things over to men's soccer. They took one last trip to Southern California to take on the Concordia Eagles. In the first half, ArtU controlled the majority of the possession, limiting CUI to just 3 shots while taking 10 themselves. The offensive pressure was led by junior midfielder Bobby Gutierrez as he took 5 of the 10 shots with 2 on goal. In the 43rd minute, Bobby took a shot that deflected off the keeper, and freshman Jarrett Gill was able to score and get his first goal in an Urban Knights uniform, making it 1-0. During the second half, the Knights defense kept the Eagles from getting any scoring opportunities, as they only had 2 shots on goal, and sophomore goalkeeper Jacob Primbas made it easy work of them. The Knights ended their season with a win over the Concordia Eagles with the final score of 1-0.
The women went off first, and so proud of their efforts today. It's the best race as a group I've ever seen them run. In fact, I would say it's the best race for at least our top 5 or 6 that they've ever run in their lives. So it's hard to ask for much more than what we got. We had our top 6 all run lifetime bests today out here. That's pretty good, but it wasn't about time for them. It was about competing, and they competed. They ran smart, they went out smart, they moved up, they hung tough at the end. You know, they battled for every spot, and that's exactly what we've been working on all season.
So it was obviously a tough race. Like for me, it went pretty good. Like I knew like how to wait and like push it in the last lap. So I think my race was alright, and for the team, it went pretty good too.
Yeah, that was a tough course, but we were still there. Like individually, I tried to run for the win. I lost, but it happens, and I think it will help a lot for the next race, which is in 2 weeks in Oregon, and this is the race that does really count. And all the team is ready for it. Each race, each weekend, we're improving as a team, and this is the most important thing, I think.
The men and women's cross-country team set out for Oregon for this year's NCAA Division II West Regional Championships. Over 200 runners represented schools from all over the Pac-West Conference to participate in the 10K race. Both ArtU cross-country teams had a placement in the top 7th for their races. Overall, the women had 6 runners inside the top 90. On the men's side, there were 5 within the top 90 as well, one being 5th overall. The Academy runners have a chance to earn a large bid at the national championships that will be announced later today. For the final tournament of the fall, Academy of Arts women's tennis team went down to Turlock and had the twin sisters Alma and Clara as they were named double champions. And for singles, Clara, along with the rest of the tennis team, had a combined 14 wins within the first 2 days. The team is now home preparing for the spring season ahead.
Just this tournament, you play the singles. I have never seen you play this good. So, and I feel that is a really good preparation for the spring. Because we have our first game in the end of January, and I think in 2 months. So I think this is a really good preparation.
That's all we have for sports this week. Back to you.
Are you planning ahead for this weekend and don't know what to do? Now to Winnie Dong with the week's entertainment updates.
Thanks, Taylor, and welcome to this week's update on entertainment, bringing you latest movie information. The first movie is Justice League. Coming up next Friday is the 5th installment of the DC Extended Universe, presented by Warner Brothers Pictures, starring Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, and Jason Momoa. This is the most anticipated American superhero film. The story is inspired by Superman's selfless act and his faith in humanity.
I made him a promise. This is why I brought you together. Ride ain't over yet. My man.
Justice League is not one you're going to want to miss. Also opening on the same day, a new legal drama film, Roman J. Azrael, is about a lawyer who takes over a large firm after his mentor, a civil rights icon, has a heart attack. His career is put to the test after a series of events unfold. If you are a fan of history or politics, this is a movie that you have to see. All gamers, there's a newly released video game, Star Wars Battlefront 2, launching on November 14th next week. It will be available on PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. Battlefront 2 allows players to experience the untold story of a Special Force soldier in an all-new single-player campaign. You can also invite your friends and experience the multiplayer battles. Players can fight as ground troopers or iconic heroes and villains all across all 3 eras. All you Star Wars fans, be on the lookout. Planning ahead for what do you want to do with your friends? Seems like it's going to be a busy weekend with all the amazing movies and games. That's it for this week's entertainment. Now back to you, Taylor.
Thanks, Winnie. Now let's join Alex Fernandez, who has a review on a recent music festival in the Bay Area.
Hi, welcome to this week's latest in music. A lot of big names were here for a great weekend last month. From Travis Scott to Lil Wayne, this year's lineup for Rolling Loud Music Festival was action-packed. It was the first time the festival took place here in the Bay, and I could tell you didn't want to miss any of these guys perform, yet alone Lil Uzi. Coming off his #1 album, Love Is Rage 2, he has destroyed every stage he has set foot on, creating a new wave of mosh pitting in the hip-hop culture. Lil Uzi is known for crowd surfing and being as much as a rock star as possible. And that leads us to Travis Scott, the day one headliner. Travis Scott, the Houston-born star, turns everything he touches into gold. Fans are waiting for his new album, Astroworld, to drop at any moment. He also has a joint project with Migos head honcho, Quavo, in the works. Day one of the festival goes out to all the rock stars. Day two at the Shoreline Amphitheater was a smooth transition from young hype to top 5 all-time dead or alive. Lil Pump is the youngest flexer at 17 years old. His self-entitled album, Lil Pump, made it to the top of the charts in its first week out. With over 4 million Instagram followers, the SoundCloud rapper has the following and resources to be relevant for years down the road. Weezy F Baby is someone he could take advice from. No one has been in the game longer than Lil Wayne. At 13 years old, he first signed his contract under Birdman and Slim under Cash Money Records. For many of his fans in the hip-hop, they must see him live, especially due to his recent health problems. Wayne has been in the game for 2+ decades and is now taking music slowly as of late. Giving the limelight to his protege, Drake, there isn't a better way to close out a quality festival than Wayne. Keeping it in the hip-hop realm, new music has been dropping left and right. A few joint projects like Future and Young Thug's Super Slimy album and 21 Savage and Offset's Without Warning are killing the streets. Both projects are filled with hit after hit. Ty Dolla $ign is a hook master, and he recently dropped Beach House 3. And Don't Judge Me off the album is already top 10 on the top 100 charts. Also, Chris Brown released a 45-song album titled Heartbreak on a Full Moon. That will take you a while to listen, but you won't regret it. That's all for this wild week of music. I'm Alex Fernandez. See you next time.
Thanks, Alex. And that wraps up this edition of Urban Nights Update. For everyone here, thanks for joining us, and I'm Taylor Lehman.
And I'm Marciano Rackel. Have a great day, and join us again next time.